What is going on, and welcome back into Byerly Studios. Let's start off another awesome Tumbler project. Now, instead of recording me in an intro, I just decided let's just jump into this project here. Now, in this project, we're going to be creating a fiber optic buried marker. Now, if those aren't familiar with this, it's kind of a marker that telco companies will use to mark fiber optic lines underground. Now, as we cut out some decals here of those fiber optic marker stickers, yes, I'm not going to use any stickers that you can purchase online or from the telco market industry. I'm going to create these from scratch. So as you can see, I did use the Cricut. We went ahead and customized some stickers and some monogramming. This tumbler is for me for work. Now, I do work my 9 to 5 in the fiber optic industry. I work for a big teleco company. I'm not going to name their name here. However, if you wanted to do some digging, you could probably find that out. There's a globe involved. But anyways, you can of course see that I really do take pride in the work that I perform in my 9 to 5 job, and I look forward to introducing more of this type of art into my channel. I want to create some more Tumbler videos for you, and I just thought this one was really cool. It's very similar to the traffic cone tumbler that I already created and offer on my Etsy shop. And it's going to have that same kind of grungy, nasty, like out in the field, out in the workload type of look. So as you can see here, I'm just going to go ahead and slowly just weed out these items here. We have a total fiber optic cable warning label here. Now that's the same label that you would find on one of those buried markers. If you want to Google that, you can. I'm not going to place any of those images in the video here just because I don't want any copyright strikes, and I just really don't like using images that I haven't taken pictures of myself in my YouTube channel. So just be aware you can find those. Just Google fiber optic buried markers and you will see a bunch of varieties of those. This is just the one that kind of strikes me the most because it is a cylinder style marker, and it's usually sticking quite far out of the ground, about 3, 4, maybe 5, 6 inches, 6 feet in total, depending on like if it's in a ditch or nothing like that, below grade and things like that. So what we're going to do here is I've already got my decals kind of laid out here and weeded with the weeding tool, and we're going to go ahead and cut out some transfer tape here. Transfer paper, transfer tape, whatever you'd like to call it. This is a long sheet here, and throughout this process I do print off one of these warning labels, and I decided to go ahead and create another one for the other side. It turned out that they were quite a little bit thinner than I had originally planned, so I kind of adapted and changed my plan as I went through the process here. Again, this tumbler is for me to use at work and to have here in the studio on my shelves of trophies and creations, and I've been wanting to create this project for quite a while. So as you can see, we got the transfer tape on the vinyl there. We're going to peel that off here. Looking pretty good. Just take your time, make sure all of the vinyl comes off easily. Now this is permanent 651 vinyl. You can get that from Michael's and Hobby Lobby and things like that. The pricing has gone up quite a bit. It used to be like $1. Now it's almost $2.50. So inflation is really taking over. It's getting more expensive, but it's so worth it. Look how great that looks against the orange background. Now, I can't remember the color that this is. I think it's an Orange Popsicle from Krylon, and it's the last that I had of that can. So I will have to buy some more as I sell these. I will sell these on my Etsy shop. And here soon, I hope to open up my website again. Maybe I'll have that open maybe before the summer. So that would be available at johnbyerlyartstudio.com. So there you can see it's very narrow, right? When I went ahead and printed off a second one, just because it didn't go as far around the tumbler as I had originally anticipated, and I had so much open space there. What we're going to do is we're going to find the center line on the top and the bottom so I can center this up with the very opposite of the original decal we've already put on. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of magic. Ready for the editing magic? 1, 2, 3, boom, there it is. There's it on the tumbler, and it's nice and smooth, and it looks just as good as it does on the other side. All right, with that second decal on, you can look and see how great that looks. It's lined up perfectly. Well, we have sides that have not had anything on them. So we do have wording here. We're going to do a little editing magic. I hope you guys appreciate that. Boom, boom. And there's Art Studios. Where could we be going with Art Studios? Let me think. Maybe John Byerly Art Studios. Again, this is a tumbler for me to take to work. So we're going to go ahead and apply this to the backing here. We're going to create kind of like a nice halo effect around it. I can't remember the word. Like an overlay or a halo effect around the wording. I don't remember. anyways, it does allow those words to pop, and I didn't want the words to be too big because I don't want them to be too fat or too lengthened out down the length of the tumbler here. I also went ahead and created some of these nice little like kind of arrow with a star at the end, maybe like to symbolize like a fiber optics signal, like symbol or something. I did have to create that from scratch. It was very fun to make that, and I made that with the Cricut software. Go ahead and lay that on there and peel that off to perfection. Look how great that looks, you guys. Looks phenomenal. And as you can see, it really does glisten, but it may not glisten towards the end of the project. We'll see how it turns out, but we're going to go ahead and use my Cricut cutter here, and we're just going to create a nice slice of vinyl here. This is the same color that I had used, or kind of like a holographic vinyl color. That I had bought in a multi-pack off of Amazon, and we're going to go ahead and run this around the top rim of the cup. It's really not necessary. I could go ahead and leave it as is, and it would be a little bit more realistic. The real markers just have like an orange top that matches the sides of it, but I went ahead and decided to just kind of like freshen it up and make it look a little bit new and apply a little bit of my artistic style to it. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that this goes all the way around. I did have to cut a little excess right there to kind of finish all the way around. I did not run that long enough. But as you can see, it's really coming along right here. So I've also marked on the very bottom of the tumbler a line all the way around the entire thing. So that's just using an acrylic marker, and I kind of like just press that against a project item here on the desk, twirled the tumbler around, and got a straight line all the way around. So what we're going to do here now is the original fiber optic buried markers of this style have a white base, kind of halfway up the marker there, and then it continues orange all the way into the ground. So the top orange part really stands out against the white, like kind of shaft part of it. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create that. Now, so that I don't have to create just a super smooth, super like refined edge here, we are going to apply a little bit of reflective tape to it. That reflective tape is really not in the overall design of these markers, but I went ahead and took a little bit of artistic freeness with this, and I put my own kind of spin on it. Just like the gold band across the top, we're going to add a little bit of flair to it, a little bit of shine. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut that out of a reflective duct tape, not standard duct tape, reflective duct tape. It's like it's very, very chrome looking. It doesn't have, I don't know if it has a real specific name, but as you can see here, I just cut off a nice sliver of that with the Cricut cutter there. And then we're going to go ahead and apply this all the way around, and this will clean up the edge of that white, which means that I didn't have to work so hard to keep it a nice smooth line all the way around. I was a little bit messy with it, and I didn't have to refine my paint strokes. We're going to go ahead and run that all the way around here, and then we will move on to the next portion of the project. Making sure to get that nice and level there. And if it gets a little bit off, it's no problem at all. When we apply a little bit of the next layer to this, or next process of this project, it'll almost kind of make it to where any minute details really aren't visible as much as you may think. All right, so here we are so far. This thing looks absolutely stunning, and it looks great cleaned up as it is. But you know me, you guys. If y'all follow any of my art here from the studio, you know I like my grunge, I like my dirt, and we're gonna make this kind of look like it's been out in the field, maybe in a ditch with some red mud and decay, and maybe it was just laid out there and not fully put in the ground, or maybe it's been out there for a while and somebody pulled it out of the ground, threw it off into the ditch or something. And we're just gonna kind of make it to where we almost picked it up off the ground. It's been out there for a while, Lord knows how long. And we're going to go ahead and apply a little bit of grunge to this. We're going to use two colors. We're going to use a burnt umber as well as a raw sienna. And we're just going to have fun with this. So the goal here is to create like a dirt film, but not so much that it looks like it's poo, okay? Let's be honest, we don't want it to look like poo. If anybody wants a poo tumbler, reach out to me. We'll make that happen. But that is not the goal of this project. It's just supposed to apply a little bit of just fun decay and dirty grime to it. After all, these items out in the field are made of like a PVC plastic type of material. And although they do get dirty, it wouldn't have any real rust on it. It might be faded and dirty, but no rust in this. So we're not going to use any kind of glitters or sands or a granular type of material to make any rust on this. Now, if somebody wanted a rusted version, like an old school like metal staked version, and they send me a picture of it, I can probably make that happen. as long as it's kind of in the similar cylinder shape or anything remotely cool, then I can kind of apply my artistic design to it and just create something fun. Again, you will be able to find this on my Etsy shop, so make sure you check that out. And you can order one of these for yourself or for a gift for your fellow lineman or family member or your dad. Now, as we get into the epoxy here, we're going to give this a nice perfection, beautiful, amazing, clear layer of epoxy, and we are going to be using Flynn's Sister epoxy for that. I am an affiliate of them if you don't know already. If you don't, then hey, guess what? I'm an affiliate of Flynn's Sister. I mainly use their epoxy. I do have regular set and fast set, and we are going to be using fast set. Spoiler alert, I created this one day before I used it in a corporate meeting. I'm super excited. So I was able to kind of showcase this in a corporate meeting with a few of my fellow co-workers. And I'm just really excited with how it turned out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and apply a nice general layer of 30 milliliters to this tumbler. And this is fast set, so by the morning, as long as I don't get any air bubbles or any fiber material in this layer here, I will be able to use this in that meeting. So again, I created this, I base coated it in the morning, I waited till about lunch to begin any kind of detail work, and by say about 10 or 11 o'clock at night, I was epoxying this with a fast set. So this was a one-day tumbler, which is absolutely incredible for tumbler makers to be able to create it from start to finish. Now, if you do a one-day tumbler, just remember that you need to make sure that the spray paint fully cures before you apply epoxy, because it can change the properties of the epoxy as the spray paint degasses and cures. It can really create like a sticky layer, and no one wants really sticky epoxy, because that just means you have to either strip it off or throw it away, and no one really wants to ever do that. Even if it is easy for someone to do that with like a belt sander or cut all the epoxy off, it's just a pain, you guys. And after all, it's like a $7 to $9 stainless steel tumbler that we're putting this on. And is it not worth $9 for you to strip a tumbler? Sometimes not really. It just depends on the situation. We're going to go ahead and hit that beautiful Flynn's Sister epoxy with the heat gun. We're not going to go over above with this. I don't want to burn or scald the epoxy. And we're also going to hit it with a torch. Now, the torch isn't really necessary, but it does pop any of those refined bubbles. Especially with fast set, it's going to set up so fast that any of those epoxy bubbles that are deep against the surface will not have time to rise to the surface at all times. So you want to make sure you kind of heat it up at least a little bit. Hit it with the torch. That way those can rise to the surface and pop really quick. Look how absolutely fabulous that looks, guys. I didn't know what kind of descriptive word I want to use, but we're going to use fabulous here. What's a manly word for fabulous? That thing was badass, you guys. Look how awesome this thing flipping looks. And I'm so glad I'm able to use this at work. Again, John Byerly on one side. We have that little fiber optic streak of light going into an optical kind of light star there. On the other side, we have Art Studios. So John Byerly Art Studios is where you'll be able to find this on my Etsy channel. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video. Later.